All right. Hello and welcome on back. So it's still Friday. Happy Friday. Got my water heater fixed. Found out it's probably going to go out again. So that's the rental life for you, though. I mean, you're kind of at the mercy of your landlord, and my landlord's pretty cool. Like, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I've had worse. He's not very hands-on, but actually, I kind of appreciate that more because I had one night landlord. It was just a nightmare. Like she would just like show up unannounced and like want to come in and all this and I was like, man, you don't live here anymore. This is your rental house. You got to give me some notice and stuff. It's like I'd have like a girl over or something and be like, like trying to do like a date or something. All of a sudden she's just like, oh hello. It was almost like having like strict Christian parents that didn't want you doing any of the hanky panky. So oh man. Anyway, speaking of Christian, I saw that short just kind of exploded a little bit, and it's kind of a good and bad thing. Had two people that dislike it, but I don't know. I think that's really important. So to talk a little bit about the short, it was a Fortnite musing that I was doing, and I was rambling about Mary Magdalene, which apparently was a woman disciple. And again, I'm not super religious. I was raised Christian. I'm more concerned with, or I lived with Muslims in college that were great, amazing people. Like I consider them family now, and I've known Jewish people. I dated a half Jewish girl lady. Sorry, I need to get out of my own sexist way of constantly calling these women girls, but women just seem so derogatory too. I don't know. It just seems awkward in conversation. Lady, there we go. But anyways, yeah, my high school sweetheart was half Jewish, so I learned a lot about Jewish culture, and I watched a lot more of what I said because one of my favorite shows back then was South Park. I mean, still is, but just haven't had time to really catch up on the season or even understand how to do that. But back when that was my main entertainment, were disc season sets of South Park, I could almost recite the first at least the first six seasons, almost every episode word for word. I watched them so many times. And that first episode, or really the first season, is just so amazing with oh gosh, careful. Um I see some iron. Wait, is there another way to be going about this? But anyways, it's just very profound. Like I love what they did. The creators, I mean, they're very controversial. A lot of it's, it's joking, but they didn't play favorites. Like it wasn't just a Democrat or a Republican show. It was they made fun of everybody. Like they thought if you thought you were so, high and mighty, they would try to take you down a peg or two. And I think they equally upset people on both sides of the aisle politically. Religiously, they made fun of everybody, but one of the creators was Jewish, and he made sure to let us know that, like, because I also watched the extended stuff, and I mean, and one of the main characters, Kyle, is Jewish in his family, and they really rip on him, but at the same time, he's one of the main characters and really the voice of reason, like one of the more respected people. Cartman, everybody just hates Cartman because he's a flat out racist, like Nazi in the making, and like but at the same time, like, I mean, all of these personalities and stuff, if you remember that people are people, and even though they might come off as angry or racist or hate, filled with hate, a lot of times it's a misunderstanding. And I say that having some very redneck and conservative friends and family that I talk to. And like whenever we get into politics and stuff, it usually gets to like, okay, well, how about this? And then we talk about everything that we want to talk about. And we all feel a lot better after we do these talks because then it's like, oh, okay. See, this is what I was thinking, and this is what I heard and saw. And everybody thinks that being a liberal just means like you're screaming rainbows at people and like and if you don't accept me for five different things and all this and that, then you're the devil. And which sometimes it is. And again, that's misunderstanding and miscommunication. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. Like I'm all for pride and like supporting things, but I've watched. I really wish I could find the video clip, but there was a guy talking about his concerns, and I think it was in Congress, like in front of the senator, House of Representatives, but he was talking about how LGB was taken over by TQ. I don't even know what Q is. I think it's queer, but like I don't know what that means. Like, I feel like LGB kind of covers all of it, and then T, transgender transitioning, which actually, by the way, I'm pretty sure started here in Colorado down in Trinidad. And South Park has an episode on that too, like talking about how transgenderism is right now it's mostly cosmetic. Like, yes, they have the medications to get you more estrogen or testosterone, and it's getting very real. I mean, what I consider quote unquote real. And I'm not gonna lie, I find some transgender women to be very attractive. Like, it's very convincing. They're like, I mean, I don't know, but anyways, it's more that I think there needs to be a standard, and I think that's what a lot of people are concerned about is that there's no real standard that, if a guy just wants to start dressing up like a woman and start using the women's bathroom, there's really no recourse about that. It's not like, I mean, you're almost kind of attacked for trying to gatekeep when the concern is really valid. Like if it looks mostly like a guy, some people might feel uncomfortable about someone like that using a woman's bathroom if, like, say their daughter's in there, or say some, because the people that assault people sexually, and again, not pigeonholing. I'm not trying to say like there's a certain breed of human that is more susceptible to attack people and take liberties and shortcuts that they shouldn't in that area. But that's the concern. Now, granted, like 90 to 99% of people that this would concern are not going to be an issue. But you also got to look, I mean, from a criminal thinking and like kind of like crime statistics and like law enforcement viewpoint, looking at like predators of kids are almost all in the church or law enforcement or amazingly Republican. But again, like I talked to a few people and I'm like, doesn't that concern you? Like that most of these people attacking kids, like, and by attacking, I mean like assaulting, like, like taking away their innocence and really messing with their heads for life. And it's terrible. Even what Drake did, I heard that Drake's whole thing was with a 13-year-old. Like that's terrible. Should not happen. Should not happen. I don't care who you are. R. Kelly had a lot of the same stuff. And I don't know if that's true about Drake. That's what I heard. So don't quote me on that. Matter of fact, don't quote me on any of this stuff. Like, if you think that there's something weird, please look it up. Please let me know in the comments. Like, and we can talk about it in a civil way. Because I mean, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody out here. And saying the whole LGBTQ plus, the two spirit, like I do think that should be kind of included in there. But as far as like, we should have a scientifically determined scale and scientifically and medically, like it should be signed off by a doctor, which they're already seeing if they're transitioning. Like that's basically a requirement is you have to have therapy, you have to consult a consultation with the doctor. Like there's a lot of thought and planning that goes into it. And that's why I hate when I see like Elon and people like that talking about like, oh my gosh, they're going to make our kids do this or that. It's like, no, your kids are going to try to do what they want on their own. I mean, that said, a lot of kids want to be like astronauts and stuff and then change their minds all the time. So I'm a little scared of like, careful because some of that stuff is irreversible. Same with vasectomies. Like that was a myth that I asked my doctor about that because I was going to have a vasectomy so I couldn't have any more kids. But I could still, be an adult and have fun. And my doctor said, no, they're not reversible like people think. I mean, they're actually very not reversible. There's a chance that, I mean, yeah, they're supposedly in theory, yes, but many times it doesn't. And so, and maybe I do want a third or another, well, doxing myself there, but maybe I do want another kid and maybe I just didn't want another one right now. I don't know. But that's what I'm saying is like with the transitioning thing, and again, they know this. Like, there's a bunch of coaching. Like, usually the parents are very involved in this. Um, so it's kind of like a non-issue. And, at the basis of it, I see Elon as another rich person trying to protect their riches at all costs, especially after I listened to his conversation with Trump the other day. Because I like to know what they're saying too. Like I don't trust just what I see from my own echo chamber because it makes Republicans out to look very scary, very stupid, very evil, and all these things that they have tendencies to do that, just like Democrats do. Because we're all people. There's not a special human that's like you can biologically tell. Oh, yep, this is a Republican or this is a Democrat. No, it's like we're all trying to make the best choices we can with the information that we have available. And the sad story is a lot of people, for now, it's changing, don't have access or don't realize they have access to good information. Specifically, like being able to fact check, which is a very important skill. And if you do a computer science education, you're going to learn very quick that Google foo is very important. And you're going to have those times where you look for things for, well, I mean, again, this is not even just first world problems, but this is current generational problems. Like back in my parents' day, if they wanted to learn computer science or how to write computer code, they'd have to whip out a big old like fat textbook with like thousands of pages and sift through it and hopefully you see some good examples, but they're probably already out of date. It's not like the internet being so popular like it is now. Anyways, I digress. But information and fact checking, it's a very important skill. And I've been called out myself by my own echo chamber of posting false information about Trump back in the day when he was first going. And I was a lot more vocal about, I was also a lot younger and more fiery, I guess. My brain wasn't fully developed. So whenever I heard something, and if I believed it to be true, I would almost be up in arms, like, let's go, let's go do something about this. And if you want to be an ethical hacker, a white hat, or even a gray hat, you have to know that hacktivists are one of the targets that you're going to have to deal with in your career or your experience. And what hacktivism is people thinking that they have the righteous cause and they will attack a system. They will break the law, basically. In fact, I feel kind of bad because I saw this exact thing happen when that abortion ban went into effect, or when Roe v. Wade got overturned, and there was a lot of concern about that. There was a hotline where you could snitch out people that were trying to go do that and break the abortion laws. Like you could anonymously leave a tip about their name, any info about them, and then the police would go, investigate that. Now that's way too far. I don't believe in that. I don't care what your personal beliefs on or abortion of abortion are on. There's a reason we have medical privacy. It's because that's private to the person and their doctor, and it should be. Like that's between them and their doctor. We haven't proven that God exists. And I mean, Christianity is only 1% of all the religions in the world. And you want to talk history, a very small percentage. And I know it's growing, but like I've seen every now and then I'll see some figures like there's this many millions of Muslims and there's this many millions of Christians and then there's this many more millions and millions of people that aren't either, because you got to think Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, atheism, and actually atheism, it's kind of a misnomer too, because that's just more like you just don't believe in any God. I mean, not all the way. Like there's several flavors, well, kind of like gender identity. There's several different types. It's not just clear cut like yes or no, and non-binary means anything in a wide range of different, gender roles, different identities, different levels, and I've had people explain it to me, and I admit I'm not too knowledgeable about that, but I do know, and I respect that. Like ever since I learned about hedras in my anthropology class at CSU, like we talked about how there's people in India that they take on more feminine roles, and like kind of like their gender identity is more of a woman, even though they're quite clearly male born. I guess it's called cis male now. But anyways, I think, again, don't quote me on any of this, but from my understanding, and then I went to India and I saw some people like that. They were trying to tap on taxi windows for a good time, and we have that here too. I mean, and that's just a biological thing. Like male-born people with testosterone, you generally have a higher desire to do stuff like that you can, I mean, whereas more estrogen and more of like the nurturing thing, it triggers the brain to be more nurturing and more reserved about that stuff and more careful. I mean, that's why like promiscuity is kind of, well, either way, again, we don't need to debate all that, but no, in fact, actually I was starting to talk about the Jesus thing, but because I just posted a short and I think it's up to like 300 views already, and that normally doesn't happen unless it's like a really cute Minecraft video, and I feel bad, and I try not to say anything too crazy in case there's like kids watching these, but like whenever I post like a funny Minecraft thing, that usually takes off and like has like hundreds of views. But I don't know. I mean, I teach my own kids a lot of this stuff. I don't sugarcoat a lot of it. Like I try to be very careful with how I explain it, and I always say like stuff like, but you should really, if you're concerned about something, you should really try to get some more information on it. Try to be a little more well informed, because it's too easy to go off and get emotional about something and then find out that like you might have just been flat out wrong. Like I was with that Trump thing. I was very mad and I thought Trump did something. I don't even remember what it was. But then one of my friends was like, "Hey, I hate the guy too, but let's keep it real here. He didn't do this." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And that's my bad, and when that happens, it might not seem like a big deal, but if you perpetuate lies and misinformation, then you're no better than the people up there trying to put a spin on everything, the politicians, like trying to scare you into voting one way or the other. In fact, I got really mad. I heard a radio commercial the other day. I've heard it a few times now, and they're trying to get people all angry and scared about taxes It's not even tax season. Like we're like the farthest away from tax season that we can get, like these next few months. You know, like I mean, I guess we could start preparing for it, but as a just a worker, not a business owner, there's nothing I really got to worry about. Most people are like in my position. Most people just work a 9 to 5 or get a paycheck, and then they check and make sure the taxes are correct, and maybe get a refund. Probably not now if you make enough. But anyways, I digress. Actually, where was I even going with that? Oh, this commercial. It was like, President Biden just signed in the biggest budget ever in history, which, yeah, that's probably true. We continue to spend more and more. And I hate to say it, until we figure out world peace, our military spending is off the charts. Like, I think it's $800 billion. We could do so much more good with that. Although I think some of that budget does actually go to dropping food in places that need it. Because I did read somewhere that that's actually calculated in the military budget. But still, like, and I was going to be in the military. I wanted to real bad. They don't like hippies, so I didn't make the cut. Although I did get a perfect score in science on the ACT. Stoned. I love that fact. And again, if there are kids watching, I will divert to the DARE officer. It's not a good idea. You need to be careful with all substances and alcohol especially. But really, but they need to be informed too. Anyways, this commercial, it talked about how Biden hired about like 6,000 IRS agents. The last I read about that is they got revoked, like that got shot down. So it's not even true anymore. And I was mad about that because I was like, yes, finally, because the point of the IRS agents is they can easily audit the people like, most likely you and me that just have a paycheck and then have taxes taken out. Done. Like the company reports how much money they paid to each person, and then the tax IRS just has to go, oh, wait, these numbers don't match, or they look through them. It's a little more complicated than that, but basically, unless you are a business owner or you have a lot of investments or lottery winnings or donations or all these other things, or even just like, ugh, or if you make a golf course into a cemetery, that's when I heard that, and I don't know if it's true. It could be fake, but I heard that Trump got a tax break for one of his golf properties because he buried his ex-wife there, and now it's a dual-use property as a cemetery or some place where you can bury your dead. And I think, but even if he didn't do that, I know he's taken advantage of a ton of other things. I mean, his net worth went up to like what, 3 billion? He inherited 300 some million. Oh, and this goes back. Well, sorry, we'll finish that idea with the radio commercial. It was a flat out lie, unless what I was reading was inaccurate. But a simple fact check, I could go check it. Oh wait, let's check it right now. Because here is perfect example. There's something that I don't know if it's true. I'm gonna take my phone, go to the Googles, and okay. And while it's loading, because I gotta clean this thing up and it's almost dead. And that's the other thing too. Like I'm pretty bad with my own tech. Like I need to clear up some space on this, make it faster. Probably just get a new phone in a couple of years. But yeah, see, it's still loading because there's so many notifications of things going on this thing. But anyways, wow, that's taking a really long time to load. Okay, there it is. So, did Biden hire IRS agents? And then, so did Joe Biden hire 85,000 new IRS agents to harass Americans? This is Wisconsin Watch. The Biden administration okayed hiring 87,000 new IRS employees by 2031, but only a fraction are agents. Most are filling expected vacancies. There you go. So even right there, let's see, IRS to hire 30,000 employees over the next 2 years. This is govexec.com. Biden administration lays out the full spending plan for its new 80 billion cash infusion. Then here we go. Bost votes to block Biden. This is Congressman Mike Bost to block him hiring him. Then no, Biden, and this is from Time magazine, no, Biden is not hiring 87,000 new IRS agents. After the FBI search of Trump's home, Republicans are linking it to plans to beef up the IRS, but they don't include 87,000 new agents. And then why keep? So again, like all these things, it quickly falls apart. So it's not even actual agents. And then here's what's really happening. They aren't hiring an army of auditors. Yeah, and then here's a New York Times fact check. So it's actually not completely true. Now, that doesn't really mean that he didn't hire anybody and there's not going to be more IRS agents. But if you think about it from a logical view, say he did. Let's say he did hire 87,000 new IRS agents. Also, I got to be careful. This is death. Like this is very dangerous. I could die from that fall. I'm going to bridge over to get to here. But anyways, say they do get all the agents. If you're not breaking the law and cheating your taxes, you got nothing to fear. Now, and that's the thing. Probably a lot of people that are spooked and spreading these rumors are cheating their taxes or using loopholes that they know very well. Oh gosh, that is so scary. They know darn well that they're going to get in trouble if people start poking at their financials a little more. And good riddance. Like I mean, if you're doing that, now, not to say like I encourage people being financially bankrupt and all that, but most of these people have the money to spare, and the people that don't, if anything, they might be like, "Oh, wait, you're being taxed too much." Or, I mean, we have a pretty good system. Like, if you don't make a certain amount of money, you get all of your taxes back, and it's actually a very happy time. I know because that used to be me, but now I make too much money, and that's fine. Like, I'm happy, kind of, because that means I'm more successful now. But for a long time, I've had a lot of jobs where tax time was a big payday for me, and I got excited because I'd get like, a couple $1,000s back or something that I didn't expect to have. So, anyways, and everything is easily auditable and catchable. Like, I mean, if someone is wrong, they can easily raise a stink, and then it's a whole big deal. And so, like, people, pretty much everybody's not out to try to do that. But the people that know that they're messing with the government's money, and that should be funding the schools, the roads, our police, like, all the things that taxes go to pay for, and they're not. And yeah, it's just ridiculous. In fact, I just read that Coca-Cola got busted because they were hiding a bunch of income in tax shelters and stuff. So they were breaking the law, hiding this stuff from the government because they knew that they would have to pay it back. Oh, this makes me nervous. Just my luck, my controller will glitch out and I'll stand up or something. Actually, as I say that, okay, good. It doesn't hurt to just check and make sure that you're not standing, because I've done that before. I was actually standing the whole time, and I just happened to be doing that, and I was over a lava pit in the nether, and I didn't fall, but I definitely could have. And I was just like, oh. Anyways, back to the IRS stuff. So that's what these people would be doing. They need more people to be able to audit, like the people that are doing the very extravagant, like weird, obscure tax law loopholes that, or just basically doing like what Coca-Cola did and like lying to the government. Be like, oh yeah, we made all this money, but we're not going to report it. Like, and I don't know. I have a pretty dim view of Coca-Cola and Pepsi after watching a Robert Reich video where they both are in a weight or a price increase war, and they don't care because they're monopolies. There's no real competitors, and so they've raised prices even though it's you go check out Robert Reich. He explains it all in very basic terms. That's very easily understandable. And I've seen a lot of people that don't like him or don't agree with him, but they don't really bring any other facts from what I've seen. Like the people that do argue. Also, this is really trippy. Sorry, it's like my hand doesn't go up, or I don't have a hand there. So I thought, usually, see, I have a right hand, but I don't have a left hand. Usually there's a left hand holding the map or whatever. I don't know. My son plays with a lot of, and in fact, this is actually my son's character. This isn't, it's some kind of like rave thing, and like, I think it's funny. But, oh, whoa, where are we going? So, anyways, and then back to the religious thing. So I wonder who those two people, why they didn't like the short, because maybe it was because Fortnite mixed with religion, and that's fair. But I was talking about how Mary Magdalene was actually, turns out she was a disciple of Jesus. So there you go, a woman leader. And a lot of people don't like that. I mean, because women are supposed to be the lesser vessels. I saw a video clip of Lauren Boebert, our own Republican representative. I think she's in the House. She might be a senator, but she's from Colorado. I mean, and she was elected. Like, I mean, we voted her in. Not me. I didn't vote for her, but. And anyways, I saw a video of her reading scripture to some of her followers, and she was like the lesser vessel. Women are the lesser vessel. And I just think that's BS. Like, anymore, women are just as important as men and everyone in between. Like, we are all people and we all deserve one voice, one person, one vote. Like, that's it. And we deserve to have a woman be in charge. or an in between. Like I think that's an easy scientific way to say non-binary, like an in between. Like I mean, I say that a lot when I'm discussing such things on the socials, mostly X app, because like I like to leave that open ended. That's the scientific way, especially computer science. Like you have to do that if you're going to do programming, because I mean, there's so many corner cases, and then hard coding is where you're like, okay, I see this corner case, I'm going to write some code to address just this. I mean, my favorite example is a grading program. Like if you want to get every single grade, you're writing 100 different pieces of code to say if it's a 95, it's an A. If it's a 96, it's an A. When in reality, all you can do is say if it's a 90 or above, A, done. So that covers everything, even the in-betweens. So the infinite number of in-between grades, if you take it out to the millionths or the thousandths, the 10,000ths, the millionths place, or percentage of a whole, you could have like 95.999912344. What doesn't matter. It's all not. It's an A. So, and that's the same with logic when negotiating things or discussing things. Like you don't want to leave anybody out in your discussion because that's just most likely going to come back to bite you, or it's going to be have to be something that you're going to need to address down the road. Now, it's not always easy enough to do because then like a lot of times there's more time spent, just trying to figure out all of the different situations and use cases that now you've just spent too much money on those people's time and paying them to sit there and think about all that. And that's unfortunately the reason why a lot of decisions are made without considering everybody that's involved. It's kind of a bleak way to look at it. No, I love it because I was raised Methodist and I'm not really religious anymore. I think I said that in this episode, but doesn't mean I disrespect or think that those people are crazy or idiots. Like everybody likes to believe that there's a creator looking out for us or a guardian angel. Like it makes you feel good. I mean, and honestly, I like to think that hopefully there is a creator watching or whoever programmed this simulation is watching and be like, ha, that A-Rye, what's he rambling about now? And hopefully just chuckling and not be like, oh, I'm going to get him or something. And, something bad happens to me. But unfortunately, if you show disrespect to someone's religion, that's their faith, that's their belief structure. I mean, they really believe that, I don't know. And I guess that's why I have the opinions I do, is because I read a lot of the Bible. I studied it. I was in confirmation classes. I did Bible study with my peers. And a lot of time we were just like, oh, this makes sense. Oh, this doesn't make sense. And we were kind of like just picking and choosing what we even wanted to believe in the Bible. It was like, that seems a little outdated, or that's not really how it is today. And that's fine. Like software updates, software never stays the same. There's always has to be patches. Like as people realize any flaws in logic or any additional use cases or things that they just didn't think about when they were building it, then they add it in. Same with religion. Like we're basing our faith. If you're Christian, you're basing your faith in a 2,000 plus year old book that was written after all the people in it were already dead, and it was like a culmination of a bunch of letters they wrote back to and forth to each other. But I mean, there's so much that could go wrong with that, and I've seen several memes where it's like, it's been translated, rewritten, retranslated, this and that. Like there were a few wars in there where like people could have just been like, But I think there's also a strong argument that there are enough copies that corroborate, they confirm that the general basis of the translation is accurate. But even then, like I feel like Ben Franklin wrote the Poor Farmer's Almanac or Poor Richard's Almanac. I can't remember, but he basically wrote a bunch of stuff to try to help humanity and be like, this is how you plant crops. Watch out for this, or you might. And then if you watch that movie Zeitgeist or Zeitgeist, however you say it, they just had a scrolling list of all the religions that had a martyr that died for 3 days and was resurrected. And they pointed out this is most of the time aligned with the harvest cycle. That's when it's time to plant crops. Like the sun actually visibly dips. For 3 days, it's lower in the sky than when it is. And then it goes back to, being higher in the sky at that certain time of day. And so then that's how ancient people knew. Oh, there's the alarm. Are we already at 30? Oh, a little early, but anyway, so it's kind of interesting to see. I mean, and if you are offended, I apologize. It's not my intention. And especially if there is a God that exists, like I try to live in a way that if he or she exists, because again, dogma, like they say there's like, oh, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but anyways. Or Pastafarianism, there you go. It could be a flying spaghetti monster for all we know. We have no actual proof. And what we do have is a bunch of people's word that may or may not have been influenced for political or personal gain. So Yeah, the argument wouldn't hold up in a court of law, basically. You can't argue a case on the Bible in the court because it's just not considered evidence or proof because it's not proven. So, anyways, that's all for this one. I might just make another one because now I have hot water. I might go take a hot shower. Oh, it'll be fancy. All right, ta-ta for now. I'll see you in the next one.